If you don't love anybody, don't worry about your beneficiary designations. If there's anybody in this world you care about, get those beneficiary designations laid down, because here's why. Doing this for a long time, there's people who have passed away without beneficiary designations, and you do not want the state of Illinois dictating where your estate goes to. They're not so well known for their money management skills, okay? Write down who or what. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be an entity. It could be a church. It could be a missions organization. It could be a dog kennel, as long as they're a non-for-profit. Who do you want your money to go to should the good Lord call you home? Get that done.
We've been doing this for 20 years and serving hundreds of families. We're going to bring solutions to your situation.
How do you choose a financial advisor? How do you know who you should
That's
work with?
the value of that 210 core, moving everything towards a purpose on purpose.
Hey everybody, welcome to your Retirement Blueprint Podcast. My name's Kendall Stahl, alongside my co-host today, Mr. Phil Cooper. How's it going?
Good. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching today.
How was your weekend?
It was good. Full of baseball. Lots and lots of baseball.
Yep, I was there with you.
Yeah, it was really an awesome weekend. For those of you parents that are like us, then you chase your kids around playing baseball, football, volleyball, whatever it is, that we're in that chasing in the baseball season right now. And so that's what we did all weekend. Our whole family went, which was pretty cool.
I don't know if I'm prepared for it, the travel baseball thing. I just don't know if I can keep up with the pace. Anyways.
It's hammered down, isn't it?
I know, but it's a lot of fun.
It is fun, yeah.
Well, today we always start off with a question, and today the question is from Jan in Hannah City, and she is asking a good question, a question a lot of people ask, and that is there an age that I should move my investments from aggressive to, I guess it says less aggressive?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the answer to that is very much depending on your situation, Jan. But there's a simple rule out there. I don't know if I'd follow it all the time, but it's what they call the rule of 100. And so basically what that is if you take the number 100 minus your age, whatever the answer is. So let's say, Jan, that you're 60. So if you take 100 minus 60, I think the answer is 40, right?
Good job, Kendall.
Okay.
Well done.
40 being the answer, hypothetically, that's how much you should have that's where your risk score should be from a scale of 1 to 100. So all that means is the older you get, or the closer to retirement you get, or further into retirement you get, the less and less risk that you should have, I guess.
I would agree with everything you just said, 100%. But there's always that caveat, right? So, Jan, here's a couple of things you got to follow, too. So here's some scenarios that Kendall and I run into, and so do our advisors every day. So if you just follow the rule of 100, and then you have some other situations. For example, let's just say this bucket of money that you have saved is all that you're ever going to have, and you better hang on to it with all that you have, right? It's going to,
sure.
You need this money to last the rest of your life. Throw that rule of 100 right out the door. It's not something you need to be following. You need to wrap your arms around that, and your answer is, when should I move to safety? Yesterday. Sure. Get after it, because these are dollars you need to hang on to. Now, if your situation is such that that bucket of money you have is going to be so large you'll never, ever spend it, then yeah, follow the rule of 100. It works pretty well. But for some people, don't follow that rule. It all depends on what do we always come back to? What's the foundational piece of a good financial plan? And that is income.
Yep.
So take a look at your income. If your income is established, then you can go, okay, I've got this bucket full of investments. Guys, when should I pull that risk back? That's when we'll be able to help you figure that out.
Yeah, so today's podcast is going to be kind of fun because we don't have much of a plan, which I
love that.
know is right up your alley.
Yeah, I love that.
But we're going to talk about different headlines in the news and kind of our reactions to them and all that.
Okay, fun. Yeah.
But one of them, I guess we could just start out with it because it kind of ties into the risk conversation, is planning to retire by the end of 2022. What needs to be done now? And one of them, I'll go over all of them here in a minute, but one of them is just talking about how much risk you have. And so I probably said this before on the podcast, but 2020 was the first real market correction I had went through since I've been in this industry. And so what I've been telling people now since then is the biggest thing that I learned then is that people either have no idea how much risk they have inside of their portfolio, or they do, and when it comes down to the time of being able to handle that, they realize, hey, maybe I can't handle that. So, moral of the story, Jan, is it's different for everybody. Got to have a plan, but make sure you understand how much risk you have inside of your portfolio for sure.
I agree. Very fair. Everyone loves risk when the market's moving up.
Yep.
And for 10 years, it moved up, and risk was okay. And then when it goes the other way, people are like, I don't want to be risky. They've had the same investments they've had for 10 years. It's just that the market took a downturn, so be careful. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Back to that. So retire. So planning to retire by the end of 2022. Here's what you need to do now. Let's see if we agree with these things.
All right.
So thanks to the state of economy, the pandemic, and all the things going on in this world, a couple things to be aware of. One of them is be aware of catch-up contribution limits for 2022. So I think that's saying, hey, if you're going to be retiring here by the end of the year, make sure, if you can, maxing out all those contribution limits. Include, this is a good one, actually. It's include discretionary spending in your budget. And so I say that's a good one because I meet with most of our clients the first time, and in that conversation, we always talk about, okay, how much money do you need? And it's always like $2.50. And I'm like, come on, like you spend more than that.
The reason I'm laughing is you guys ought to hear the behind the scenes conversation when Kendall will come to me and go, what is wrong with my family? Why are we spending so much money? These people are existing on $2.50 a month. And I'm like, buddy, listen, they're not existing on $2.50 a month. They just haven't sat down and taken the time to figure out every one of their expenses. Like, you know what? Christmas comes around every year. Oh, we forgot that one.
Yeah.
Birthdays happen every year. Oh, we forgot that one. Kids got to be enrolled in school every year. We forgot that one. So
real estate taxes. Oh, we do go on vacation.
We have vacations. We eat food. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
So no one's living on $2.50 a week. So Kendall, your family's not abnormal. Yeah, maybe you spend a little too much. Yeah, maybe you spend too much, but they're not living on $2 a week.
It's your fault.
You're welcome.
It's your daughter.
You're welcome.
But for real though, the fact is that a lot of times people will give me their have-to budget, the lights, the gas bill, whatever.
Sure.
And the reality is, maybe you can get by on that, but I don't really think that when you retire, that's the goal. Right?
Of course, yeah. Right. No one wants to retire as a hermit.
Yeah. So if you're planning on retiring by the end of 22, get your head wrapped around a budget, and like not the have-to budget. Like, yeah, you need to know that, but also hey, we're living life. We're having a decent time in retirement. We're not just holed up in our house and never doing anything, unless that's what you want to do, I guess.
Did you ever hear this saying? There's an old saying. It says, if your income does not exceed your outgo, it'll be your upkeep that becomes your downfall.
I know. You say that all the time, and every time I look at you, and I got to think about it and process it for a minute.
All it means is you better have more coming in than's going out. And how are you going to know that? Sit down with pen and paper.
Yeah.
Figure out, okay, this is what's coming in. We know what's coming in, whether it's a Social Security check or a pension check or a job or whatever. But doggone it, what's going out the back door?
Yeah.
How much and how often? You better know those things. Otherwise, your upkeep will be your downfall. Don't let that happen to you.
Are you sure you're saying that all right?
I'm 100%
okay
that I said it.
Paying off debts. Yeah, you're 100% sure that you said it. Paying off debts. That's probably a good one. There's arguments to be made here, right? A lot of people are dead set on paying their house off before their retirement, and it's a good idea. Not necessarily always the right one, right? If you're going to be retiring, obviously a lot of times cash flow comes into play. And obviously the less payments you have, the better. So yeah, I think that's a good one. Understand the rules, the required minimum distributions. Normally when you retire, at least if you do it with kind of the average age, you're not worrying about required minimum distributions yet, but that's coming down the road, right? I actually let's talk about what that means, because I did run into someone the other day that hadn't heard of that. So required minimum distributions is basically just the IRS saying, hey, it's time to start taking money out of your buckets of dollars that you've saved and paying taxes on them. So if you have a 401k or an IRA, or if you're self-employed, a SEP IRA or a 403b or whatever, the list goes on and on. Any dollars that you have not paid taxes on yet, once you turn 72 years old, you have to start taking some money out of there, and that's what they call required minimum distribution.
Right, yes. and there's a little incentive to follow the rules. So the goal behind this is the government has let you put your money in a 401k or an IRA, put it away, and not pay any taxes on it, including the growth, and no tax has been paid there. And then when you reach in and take some money out, that's when they're going to tax you. And so a lot of folks have other things coming in, pensions and Social Securities, and they say, well, I'm not going to reach in and take money out. Why would I pay taxes if I don't have to, if I don't need the money? So the government caught on to this. They said, hey, you're only going to live to be so old, so we're going to require that you take some money out of there. And they set that age at 72 years old. That's a floating number. It used to be 70 and a half and some different things. But at 72, you must reach into your IRA, you must reach into your 401k and pull some money out because the government wants their tax dollar. Now, for most people, you're going to pay those income taxes at whatever income tax bracket you're at in your home, in your household, 10%, 12%, 15%, something like that. And the government says, well, if you don't follow our rules, we're still going to make you pull that money out, but we're going to charge you 50%, 50% tax on what you should have pulled out and didn't do it. So our advice...
Pretty good motivator.
Yeah, it's a good motivator. Our advice is to follow the rules, even if you don't want it. Even if you're not going to spend the money, pull it out, have taxes paid on it, and then you can do with those dollars whatever you want. You can give those away. You can reinvest those. You can spend them on a vacation you've always been dreaming of. You can do all kinds of things, but don't pay the government 50% taxes. Not necessary.
Okay, last one says review your beneficiary designations. 100% agree with it, but it doesn't matter if you retire in 2022. You should just do it anyways.
Only if you don't love somebody. If you don't love anybody, don't worry about your beneficiary designations. If there's anybody in this world you care about, get those beneficiary designations laid down, because here's why. Doing this for a long time, there's people who have passed away without beneficiary designations, and you do not want the state of Illinois dictating where your estate goes to. They're not so well known for their money management skills, okay? Write down who or what. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be an entity. It could be a church. It could be a missions organization. It could be a dog kennel, as long as they're a non-for-profit. Who do you want your money to go to should the good Lord call you home? Get that done.
Yep. All right, here's a fun one. Best cities for early retirement in 2022. So this was a study done in spring of this year by the Federal Reserve. Let's see, it says survey conducted by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. 50%, 49.2% of Americans plan to work past the age of 62. And then it talks about, here are the best cities, tax-friendly, elderly care, affordability, livability, top 10. You got any guesses?
I do, because it's laying right in front of me.
Yeah.
I got about 10 guesses.
You're reading the same thing I am, aren't you?
You know what surprised me is what's not on there?
Yeah.
Goodfield, Illinois. Why would Goodfield, Illinois? That's where I'm retiring from, or retiring to.
I can't believe Florida's not on there.
There's not one Florida city on there?
Uh-uh.
There's not, is there?
No, it's all about Arizona.
Wow.
Starting at the top, Gilbert, Arizona. I don't know if I've heard of it. That's right. Oh, yeah, I have. That's right around.
No offense, Aunt Sherry.
Yeah, I was
no
gonna
offense,
say,
Aunt
we got
Sherry.
family in Arizona,
He's been there. Don't you worry. Uncle Joe, don't you worry. Kendall still loves you.
No, that's not Gilbert. That's Glendale.
All right. Well, Joe, he still knows you're alive.
All right. Gilbert, Arizona. Chandler, Arizona. Henderson, Nevada.
Gambling, baby.
Okay. Scottsdale, Arizona. Not surprising. Plano, Texas. Louisville, Kentucky. Mesa, Arizona. Arizona's taking it.
Yeah, they are.
Boise, Idaho. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well,
Lexington,
wait a minute,
Kentucky.
Kendall. Let's put our 2 cents worth in this thing. It says, based on tax friendliness, elderly care, affordability, and livability, not one Florida city made it on there. Hypothesize for me, oh wise
Too many
one.
people there. Too hot. No, that
Well,
doesn't make
tax
sense.
friendly. There's zero tax state. Elderly care. There's.
Affordability.
I'm going with affordability. It has to be. There's a housing boom down there that people just can't afford. But Arizona
Isn't
maybe
that going
hasn't
on in
experienced
Arizona
it.
too, though?
I would think so. But boy, I'm going to Boise,
I don't
Idaho.
think they asked us.
Apparently not. I wouldn't.
I'm going to Wyoming.
No offense to if you live in those cities. No offense to you, but I certainly wouldn't have chosen Louisville, Kentucky. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Love Louisville.
I'm sure it's a great
They have
place.
a great barbecue place right next to the Louisville Bat Factory down there. I would highly recommend that. But retiring there, I don't know.
Anyways.
Where are we going with all this?
I don't know. Do we know?
Let's go to say what.
Say what? All right. You gonna say what?
I'm going to say what? All right, Kendall, did you know? Right as summer grilling season ramps up, a semi-trailer crash in Pennsylvania dumped 15,000 points of hot dog filler along the road. It took about 4 hours to clean up this goopy meat from the side of the highway. The loss equated to a loss of 150,000 hot dogs.
Do you think that's a typo? What is a point of hot dog?
I have no idea. Aren't you glad you tuned in today?
Okay, but on a more serious note, I think the hot dog eating contest was recently. I don't know. I feel maybe I just saw a rerun.
It was mixed with a chokehold. I loved it.
What's the guy that wins it all the time?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what his name is.
He's like,
Casey something or
1800 world champion title or something.
I don't know.
It's disgusting. I don't know how they do that.
Plus, the guy ran up on stage to try to take him down in a protest. He chokeholds the guy as he's
Wait, is this real?
yeah, as he's chewing down.
Are you
wieners.
making this up?
He still took down 65 wieners in a guy in a chokehold. This is impressive.
Is this true?
100% true. I pinky promise anyone listening. He was going for the world record hot dog wiener eating contest, and a guy charges the stage. He grabs the guy in a chokehold, takes him down, and still wins.
Okay. All right.
He's more of a man than I am.
I would say. Oh, man. All right. I think we better be done with this.
We're getting this from
All
behind
right.
the scenes.
This week in history, okay, actually brings this whole thing full circle. Because this week in history, 1846, the first official game of baseball was played in New Jersey. I was going to ask you where, but you already know because you're reading the same thing. Yeah, Elysian's Field. The New York Mutuals defeated the New York Knickerbockers 23-1 in 4 innings. Apparently, they started only 4 innings.
Here's what's crazy. The New York Knickerbockers are now the New York Knicks.
That's
Which is our
true.
basketball team.
Must not have been very good at baseball.
No kidding.
Obviously, because they got beat 23-1. Oh, my. I don't know if this was a useful podcast at all.
What's our point? Let's come up with a summary for these folks that are listening today.
Make sure that you don't give your retirement accounts to your ex-wife because you didn't change your beneficiary designations.
Happened before.
It has.
It's happened before.
Eat a lot of hot dogs, I guess.
Chokehold. You know.
And
Here's my summary statement. You're going to be 72 years old. You have to take some money out.
Yep.
Do it. Follow the rules. Don't give them the government.
Make sure you know
50%.
how much risk you have.
Know much risk you have, and also how much income you've got coming in. Because if you have too much outgo, income is going to be shrunk down. You got some trouble.
Yeah.
The point of all that is, all joking aside, get a financial plan. That's what we do.
Okay. Well, thanks for bearing with us on this week's episode of Your Retirement Blueprint Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.